Welcome back to the Asylum Art Studios. Still trying to make that name happen, even though I haven't put up the sign yet. I'm working on it, alright? Speaking of things I'm working on, we have finally ascended to the boss level in here, which means decorating. The final phase in my own personal cinematic universe. Name's Tommy, welcome to That System Error. This wall to my right here has been going through a bunch of phases. Go watch my art studio makeovers if you haven't yet. Right now it's painted, has trim, looks beautiful, but also has 5 very empty, very much glaring at me every time I enter this room picture frames up on the wall. I have been thinking about what to put in there for a long time. Thought about my own art, and then I thought about my lifetime being limited. Instead, we're putting up other people's artworks because this is an art studio after all, and you know, that's good for inspiration. But before I put something in those, I gotta put stuff on 2 of those. Well, I don't have to, but I've decided I have to, so now I have to. There's 3 wooden ones, which match all the other wood color in this room mostly. 2 blue ones. They're pretty faded. I'm just gonna glue a bunch of stuff onto the frames and make them look like antique frames kinda, but made out of recycled stuff. That's always kinda neat. Yes, admittedly, as many things in my life, the urge to do so has been intensified by Taskmaster. I think it must have been season 9 maybe. Not that that idea is necessarily new. I'm pretty sure there's probably an Art Attack episode out there that does exactly that. And if there isn't, it feels like there should be, doesn't it? Alright, let's get to it. And first off, take the frames off the wall. Pull the extra table out for this. I also have this box full of stuff that I collected from cleaning up this place. A bunch of old jewelry, maybe a little piece left from the trim that I did. A box full of very big screws and that sort of thing. Use them sparsely because those frames will become very heavy. Start messing around with some stuff. I might have to go on a little scavenger hunt around the house. Remember these? One sort of challenging part is that you need like multiples, because I really want this to be like an even pattern. You know, size-wise you need things that work together. Because I really want this to resemble a museum's frame in the end, not look like a 5-year-old was basically forced to glue a bunch of macaroni onto a picture frame for Mother's Day, you know? Puzzle piece earrings, been a while, and they don't actually fit. Well, that's a scam. Got a bunch of wooden beads somewhere. First I need bigger stuff. Let's say we cut a strip of that and then maybe this way around. That looks dumb. Okay, that is giving macaroni vibes. Do I put all 4 tapes on one, or do I put 2 on each one to like make them complement each other a little bit better? Much to think about. Now here's an idea. Also, I think I need some more like tall things to really drive home the 3D effect. A bunch of this stuff would actually be really great, but like it's also really heavy, which is unfortunate. Like this wouldn't be too heavy because it's hollow, but putting it on like that would really give us some height. I don't think this will hold that though. I know I could put up something else, but the question is, do I want to? A bunch of my old crap, toys and all that stuff, is stored right next door, so I might have to rummage through that. Didn't really find anything interesting, so that was that. I was, however, overcome by nostalgia for this glow-in-the-dark dinosaur alarm clock that has some burn marks on the plastic glass thing in the middle, because I always thought the closer you hold it to a light bulb, the more it's gonna light up. I'm gonna go in here somewhere. Also, remember Ice Age? Because I do. and I think this is also gonna go somewhere. Does that help with the current project? No, not at all. I wouldn't call it unsuccessful because... But regarding this project, yes, definitely unsuccessful. I did, however, have a closer look at all of these screws. Found like a bunch of these that I don't know what kind of magical lightweight metal, maybe titanium, I don't fucking know, those are made out of, but they are really light, so you best believe we're gonna use basically all of them. I also looked at a bunch of frames that really were just like childhood toys glued onto it and then spray painted, which like cool, but not what I'm going for. I had another idea. Basically we're gonna keep concentrating on like the middle of all those parts and the corners, and then tie it together by something like this. That's just a piece of very thin cardboard. Kind of a common pattern in these kinds of frames, and I really like that. And I think I'm just gonna leave like one part empty and then put a bunch of small stuff in here, or the other way around, I'm not really sure yet. All I really need is to find something that is slim and bendable. Hollywood casting directors be like. I know, I kind of knew that was coming. I've been kind of avoiding thinking about it. I think I'm going to use hot glue, different materials, and that's just going to work the best. If you don't know me, I really don't like hot glue. Genius invention, don't get me wrong, but like it's so overused in craft projects where like other methods would be a lot better. It's hot when you go to correct it and burn your fingers. Not great. Like long, thin string of just residue that's just floating around the air. I prefer not to trap myself in something that is reminiscent of a spider's web when I'm crafting, you know? Also, anyone who's seen a singular 5-minute craft video in their life, the use of hot glue in that, aside from everything else, is traumatizing. Regardless, sometimes it is the right thing to use. Whatever. If I don't find anything, I could just draw a glue line. But I would prefer to glue something down, back up. On a scale of 1 to 100, how dumb do you think it would be of me to cut up these old Christmas lights and use that? It's got 100 bulbs. We could use some of those. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll put it in the background come Christmas time in here. But to be honest, I got a bunch of other ones, and I think this is one of the old ones that actually were a fire hazard. Either I use them for this project or I probably never use them. You could stack them as well, you know, you could glue 2 next to each other or maybe 3 and then 1 on top to make like a pyramid thing. You know what? I think the more I try to talk you into it, the more I'm talking myself into it. So yeah, maybe it's dumb, but I'm strongly considering it. Tried out a bunch of combinations and took a lot of pictures of anything that I liked. I'm gonna measure where the middle of each side is. A mental note right now for myself to like not glue, you know, like the bigger parts especially just flat down, but like give it some of that to make it more interesting. One of the frames is definitely gonna have an abundance of these. So I think I've done the maximum amount of messing around. Everything is still subject to change, obviously. Let's heat up the glue gun and get to gluing. I think I'm actually warming up to the hot glue. I finished this bottom part here. Figured out what I want to do for the edges for this one. And I already did some basics up here. It's going pretty good. Right now it's giving steampunk a little bit. It's also giving Spencer from iCarly. I don't think mine is gonna take out all the power of Seattle. So I guess that's good. To continue this, I saw by complete chance yesterday that the website I'm gonna order my posters for these frames from is having a little spring sale that ends today. Found this pretty cool website. I'm not sure if they operate in other languages or in different countries. Really big collection. You can choose any custom width that you need and then the height adjusts accordingly, or the other way around. Choose a bunch of materials, get a replica as like an actual oil painting. I have made a little PowerPoint presentation which I've messed around with like a lot. Honestly, I really tried to not go like too dark, but we just want the cheapest option, which is just a poster. Choose whether you want like a white frame around it or not. I do not want that. I just need to measure one of the small ones and the big one. Basically 1 centimeter on either side that's gonna be covered up by the frame. I'm actually just gonna go with 1/2 centimeter. The small one should be 49 by 39 and the big one should be 49 by 69. As much as it pains me, we're gonna have to cut off some of that. Even customize the aspect ratio if you want to. That's gonna pain me less than having to cut it myself. Also, I know it's gonna be a straight line. Order now. And then we wait. Bit of a mess, but I finally figured out this part. For now, I like how that looks. And I started doing the cable thing. Did end up gluing 2 wires next to each other and then one on top. I think I want to do just a couple small beads like on the sides here. I feel like I need something really small actually to go here. The hot glue kind of makes it look like everything's been sort of welded together. First one's done. My back hurts, but that's besides the point. Imagine this upside down, that's the bottom. Just added these final little bits, and I think it looks really great now. I still haven't figured out what to do for that, but I gotta do that for both of them anyway, so ponder it some more. Obviously, I gotta clean up the mess first, but then we can move on to this. Guess what I've got? According to the estimate, when I placed this order, the poster should not have come for like another week or so, or 6 days or something. So this is a nice surprise. Quick quality check, because I'm nowhere near done yet. What else is in here? Oh, and we get a nice little postcard. Oh, there goes the first one. Okay, on the floor now. That's fine, right? Mostly really excited to see what the colors turn out like. Pretty much like I imagined it. It's actually quite nice because it's not one of those very reflective ones, you know? Yeah, this is gonna be good. Now, to be quite honest with you, I was actually kind of relieved when I read that they would take a while to arrive, because then I could just, you know, take my sweet time doing the frames. Yeah, I guess it's fully on me now to make this happen. That's fine, you know. If there's one thing I can handle, it's responsibility. forgot those weren't glued down. Okay, this is how far we've made it. That's to say, not very far. Usually the second one of like a series is easier to make. You've experimented a lot on the first ones, but also I find I often get a bit too comfortable and borderline cocky. A lot of the times things don't turn out as good as the first one, or maybe they do objectively, but like I personally feel not as deep as a connection to the second one. We've been through a lot, me and this collection of inanimate objects. And then the second one is just, you know, also there, third wheeling, if you will. Back to reality, back to the lab again. Hail Satan, I finally figured it out. All that is left to do is think I had some new revelations. Not quite there yet, but you know, slowly but surely. Crown piece or whatever is finally done. And I'm really happy with all of these actually. I have already drawn all of these lines with the very handy templates that I made. Just really need to think about this part. Isn't so much part of this design as it is more so just dead space, like on purpose. I don't mean that as in like it's bad or in any sort of degrading way, don't you worry. Which means I need really small things, like smaller than like some of the small things I used for this. Shouldn't stick out too much. Solve all my problems, but do me a favor and don't quote me on it. First off, pretty successful trip to the hardware store. I got myself some metallic silver spray paint. Maybe spray painting this all one color is gonna take away from some of the 3D effect, which is why I got this stuff as well. The same metallic paint, but in like a gunmetal gray. Spray the outside of the frame and basically from the inside out, and then go over it with the silver spray paint pretty head on. Could I do a little mock-up, you know, quickly glue some screws together and test my theory? Sure. Am I gonna do that? No. Instead, I think I'm just gonna go with my usual approach of hoping for the best. As for solving my actual other problem with the texture, I found this very small nails. They come with a bunch of these like shapes made out of wood, thick cork boards that you can nail these onto and basically create a pattern or a scenery. Other stuff that I was debating, but now that I've gone this far down the like metal parts route, everything else just looks weird when combined with this. I think I hate the wooden shapes, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. These are actually, for once, small enough for what I intended to do with those, but I think I hate it. Just sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. Instead, I think I'm gonna do something more like this. Hoping it doesn't rain tomorrow, because it's looking like it's gonna rain later today. Excuse me while I go glue down like hundreds of these. I think I figured something out that I like. I feel like the trick is to not space this one out as much, because everything else is really spaced out. It makes it look more like that's all one piece, which is essentially what I've been trying to do. Now the only thing that could still go wrong is that I don't have enough of these bits. It seems it has finally happened. I've been lucky. I might actually start crying. I found the box that I still don't know the English word for those things. It came in. I just started laying them out and counting them. It is exactly the amount I need. What the hell? Only thing that could stop me now is if I'm miscounting. We're officially on the last one. Didn't even end up using all of them. Spaces on the top and bottom are a bit narrower on this frame than on the other one. No idea when the hell I'm ever gonna make use of those, but they're there. Speaking of the last, by the way, see that? Right there, the last glue stick I have. I don't know what's happening. Somehow consumed some Felix Felicis. My next project is not gonna involve hot glue, I can tell you that fucking much. Looking damn good. This is all a miracle to me. The glue stick thing even more so because I had to fix some parts along the way. Hope that's not gonna happen anymore now, and especially not once they're spray painted. It's rainy and very windy today. Big dark cloud coming in from this direction. Better work fast. Wait, I'm hoping I don't break anything in the process. While we're waiting for the glue gun to finally join us in top form, anyone watched Outer Banks season 3? Time skip at the end just infuriated me disproportionately. So we're just glossing over the fact that Kiara's parents basically sent her to boot camp. Like, how did they make amends? Now I'm watching season 2 of Reservation Dogs, which is great, so that makes up for it. Hope that was enough time because that's all I got. Stay the fucking place, okay? Thank you. I'm just gonna leave that on just in case. Oh, it's not nearly as heavy as I thought. One's looking pretty good, and the second one I got about halfway done. This does look really cool right now though. I'd have to touch up some of the bead parts. Thinking about it now, I probably could have gotten like a big can of the dark stuff because I have to get into all the little nooks and crannies and then get a small actual bright silver one. My mistake. But yeah, in case for some reason your favorite pastime is watching me go to the hardware store for insignificant little shit that could have totally been avoided, tomorrow's your lucky day. Here I go again! So I cleaned the glass of all of these yesterday. They were anything but see-through. I'm gonna attach them with some double-sided tape at the top. Frames really do wonders. So that's one done. Unsure as to how to elegantly do this. Something is gonna break off, I just know it. Remember the part of the project where everything was going a little too well? Yeah, miss those times. Which one I want to be on the left and which one I want to be on the right. It is moments like these that I really envy decisive people. Now the sky just cleared up for the first time today, so I'm just gonna let you take it in without too much reflection of light. And then we're gonna talk about it. But trust me, even if my resting serial killer face isn't showing it, I am really happy. Now if these two ever fall down, there's something else I'd like to hang. I've come to realize I do have a thing for romanticism. Exhibit A boils down to it being the Ghibli movie of the art movements, but dark. Realistic painting style, still some fantastical elements, artistic liberties taken. Nature is very important. Paintings throughout all of art history are more like this format, except obviously portraits. Painted portrait-sized ones that weren't portraits. Random Renaissance Royal number 365 up on your wall. It's kind of boring to me. Sailboat in fog. Once I saw this Caspar David Friedrich sea-themed format that I wanted. Once I had this one, I was thinking, let's go all out on the sea theme. The Sea Battle of Chesme, the night of the 26th of June, 1770. Thanks for the clarification. I almost would have confused it with all of the other sea battles I know so much about. The Ukrainian painter Ivan Konstantinovich Ivazovsky. Which, no offense, but if I had to make up a Russian-sounding name for a fictional character, this guy. Known as the painter of the sea, he did a lot of sea battles that he did not attend, just from people telling him about it, and then he sort of documented them by painting them. Cathedral in Winter by Ernst Ferdinand Oehmer. Detail in that one is amazing. You can see the altar. Wanted one of these to be sort of like a sacral theme. The architecture makes for really good paintings. View on Dresden, which is a German city, with crescent moon. Match these sort of sandy colors that were already in these two. Mostly speaks to the perfectionist in me because it's such a nice balance. Last but not least, English painter John Martin. No offense, but if I had to come up with a name for a fictional English character, Sadak in Search of the Waters of Oblivion wasn't a self-explanatory fictional character from a collection of fairy tales written by an English author in the style of the Arabic Nights. Technically, it's fan art based on fan fiction. Now, as for the frames, I was struggling a little bit towards the end, but overall, everything went well. Really quickly, I like stats. 5 normal podcast episodes, 1 7-hour-long podcast episode, 8 videos from James Turner's Sims 2 Let's Play, 3 Total Drama World Tour episodes, the Dylan's in Trouble Twilight video, 1 episode of Taskmaster. Not to mention all the radio music and eerie silence. Really showed some restraint regarding Taskmaster. 22 screws, 26 Christmas lights, 97, and I've been meaning to look this word up, screw nuts. Not entirely sure the darker spray paint was entirely necessary. It must have done something. Doesn't mean I don't like how it came out. I absolutely do. I think I actually like the second one a little better now. There's always exception to every rule. I like how the shapes came out. The fact that I use a lot of like screws and that kind of stuff. Really fitting for the place that they're hanging in now. Tools are also in here. So it's almost like I planned it, which I did not, but in case anyone ever asks, I totally did. Actually really excited for this to be the first thing I see every time I enter through that door. That was fun, but I'm glad it's done. Rock on or whatever. Bye.